is Dandelion here, and I stopped by the special pawpaw spot, and it actually turns out that there's tons of pawpaws out here, so I just wanted to show you all and talk to you about pawpaws a little bit. I know the light is probably in your eyeballs, but so this is Asimina triloba, and it is a rare native fruit in North America. It was initially replanted and cultivated by mastodons, and then as the mastodon died off, indigenous people started actually planting the seeds, and the seed planting is very complicated. So we have small patches of pawpaws all over the country, except for California that I've seen. We even have one in Florida, the dwarf pawpaw. And this pawpaw tree is very unique genetically. Yeah, Sask Black, they already grow in Michigan. There's definitely Michigan pawpaws. So what I was just talking to a friend about is, I'll show you all the fruits, and every single one of these seeds is extremely unique. And the reason that it's unique is because it's a wild plant. And so instead of this being cultivated by people and selected, nature has actually spread these seeds around all over the North American continent. And so each habitat, each patch is totally a different genetic expression of the pawpaw, because nature has versus human beings. And so here's a look at the fruits. They're really yummy. They're super good. Let's see if I can break one open. Oh yeah. And so basically when they fall off the tree, they're ripe. And if you squeeze that, the pulp, I discard the skin. It's the best thing you'll ever taste. It's kind of like a cross between a mango and a banana. And there are these big seeds. And so when a mastodon would eat these, they'd poop the seeds out, basically make a giant compost pile for them to be fertilized. Indigenous people would take and plant, I've heard different things, like even a center where you compost, and then you plant the pawpaws around the center. And Sask Black, if you want some seeds, send me a private message, because I'll have some of these available. Core of the Earth, this is close by. Yes. And so this is a preserved stand that actually is in the middle of a neighborhood, and they actually fought. There were people in the township actually who fought to preserve this patch, and it is a very unique wild New Jersey genome, and I've been spreading this all around New Jersey for the last 5 or 6 years, and so there's other patches growing in other state parks and things like that. I try to plant every single seed that I get. Problem with the seeds is they're non-viable once they're dried out. And so you have to actually plant this. Think about what happens. So the tree drops these fruits and they rot on the ground. And this eventually will just start to ferment and become like an acidic medium, right? So then the seed coating gets fermented by the fruit. And then if a deer or something puts that in the ground, it will produce stand. So you can see there's all these young trees on the underside. These are from seed, from the fruit that drops, but they're also actually from runners from the mother trees. And one of the great ways of harvesting them is you do the Wizard of Oz formula, and you just pull on them and you shake them. And if there's ripe fruits, then they'll drop to the ground. And so Asimina triloba is one of the most amazing fruits in the world, and we should plant these in every park possible. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is headed out on tour, collecting wild pawpaw seeds all over North America, and sending them out to you all. So if you are interested, that's coming soon. Pawpaws are the only fruit in North America that's native that has fat. So this is actually sort of a vegan fat source, but they're not shelf stable, so they've never been brought into a grocery store, because basically when they're ripe, they're mush. And so they've been trying to breed and cultivate the pawpaw skin to be thicker and thicker and thicker. But the wild ones are so much sweeter, and those don't ripen as much, but they're trying to produce varieties, and there's like probably 20 or 30 varieties that have been seed saved and cultivated for different thickness of their skin. What we don't get and realize is that that changes the genetic expression from natural selection, which is nature, to artificial selection, which is humans, making a choice based on a certain physical attribute, right? That's what humans do so well. they judge based on physical attributes. And so we're actually losing some of the genetic diversity and the seed diversity that comes out of the wild pawpaw, and that's why kale is completely trashed as far as pests, because we're doing artificial selection on them for so many generations that they're basically losing their genetic resilience. But these pawpaws are basically one stand, and so they're a monoculture. And I'll get to that in one sec, Sass. That's a good question. So this is a stand of, let's see, like probably 100 pawpaw trees. And what happens is the mother trees actually produce clones by sending out those suckers, but those two, as I understand, can't produce a fruit. And I think it's from haploid and diploid genetics. And so there's two different genomes that have to cross in order to produce fruit and make seed. So there has been stands that I've found with other friends where they don't even produce fruits, and it's just like 5 or 6 trees. And so if you took genome from another pawpaw and you planted it there and waited 8 years, that would actually produce fruit. And that's actually what's supposed to be in the understory of North America. So instead of like Rosa rugosa, instead of things like that, right, these shrubs that have come into our habitat, we should have pawpaws everywhere. And that's what indigenous people ate. You get your fat, you get your carbs, and you get sugar. Sugar. But it's good sugar, it's healthy sugar. So these are great. I've got a little bunch of them. See, that one's kind of rotten already. And I can see that they've started to spread in different areas. So I think the seeds definitely reproduce just by them dropping on the ground. And so there's a basket of pawpaws. I'm going to be taking every one of these seeds and sharing it. So if you're interested, be in touch. This is a wild New Jersey variety that is very unique, and it's pretty cold hardy because New Jersey gets pretty cold. And I'll be eating pawpaws and sharing them with friends, and I hope that helps a little bit with pawpaw. One more thing. So they actually, Doug Elliott, who lives in North Carolina, who's an amazing forager and storyteller, I once got the opportunity to visit him, and he showed me actually that they make pawpaw whips. You can make all kinds of cordage from pawpaw, the inner bark, so it is a cordage as well. You wouldn't want to just cut the trees down just to get cordage, but like this branch, for example, if you cut here, you can strip this out and make cordage. He actually had a whip that totally worked, which had a handle of pawpaw, and the rest was woven or braided. And so pawpaw also has cordage. So it's a really amazing native plant that I think we all need to do our part in preserving and proliferating so that we can have a permaculture food forest just in every park possible. So enjoy pawpaw. Definitely try them if you haven't ever. If you're interested in seed, send me a message, and many blessings.